Hey folks, Todd Driscoll here with Get a Limit Outdoors. If you're like me, you love to fish heavy cover. Doesn't matter if it's flooded trees, bushes, log jams, stumps, matted vegetation. When we fish cover like this, most of us peg our weights, and for good reason. If you don't peg your weight, fishing that heavy cover, it's real easy for your weight and your bait. Your soft plastics actually separate from each other. When they do that, it's very hard to detect bites. It's very hard to know exactly where your bait is. So I think most of us would agree that, you know, fishing heavy cover, pegging your flipping weight is a good idea. When it comes to pegging weights, some like to use the weights that actually physically screw into your baits. I used these for years when we didn't really have much else available. It's just not a very durable way to do it. It doesn't take but a bite or two at times for your plastic bait to tear enough to where that screwing mechanism just isn't going to secure your weight to the bait. Others use toothpicks. I personally have never used toothpicks to peg my weights. It just seems common sense to me that using that hard, rigid toothpick may certainly weaken your line. I've just never used toothpicks to peg my weights. Another option I've tried are the commercially available rubber pegs. Again, just not very durable, especially when using braided line. Many times just a handful of fish and that rubber peg would tear enough to where it just wouldn't function enough to keep my weight held in place. And you know, when you're out there on the water trying to maximize your time, especially in a practice or a tournament situation, you know, time management's essential, and having to stop and retie after 3 or 4 fish just because your pegging system is no longer holding your weight to the bait just is a real inefficient way to go about it. To me, the solution to this is very simple and inexpensive. All these other methods I talked about, they're relatively inexpensive. Another inexpensive way to go about it is to simply use a rubber band. Office supply stores, including Walmart, obviously sell packaged rubber bands, various sizes. The size of rubber bands go by number. Of course, the larger the weight, typically the larger the hole, the larger the rubber band you might need to peg the weight to keep it secure in place. Here I've got 50-pound Izorline Spectra braid along with a 1 ounce flipping weight. I found that a number 3 rubber band, which is 1/8 inches in width, works great for most weights ranging from a 1/2 ounce up to 1.5 ounces. But the point is, you'll want to have several different rubber band diameters to cover all your situations and sizes of weights. You'll also need a piece of fishing line, maybe 10 inches or so. This is really a simple process to get that rubber band pegged on your weight. You just run that line through your rubber band, form a loop, and of course hold the 2 tag ends here together. Then you take your weight after it's already strung up on your line, run the 2 tag ends of that line through the hole, and then you just simply pull on that line until you can get it to where it's going to cinch that rubber band on inside that weight. I'll pull it to right about there, pretty much flush with the bottom of the weight. Of course, then you can pull that line out, and then you just simply take a pair of scissors and cut that excess rubber band off flush with the top of the weight. And there you have it. It's just that simple. It holds that weight very secure. I mean, you've got to tug on it pretty hard to get that weight to slide up and down. And as I mentioned before, the neatest thing about that is not only is it very, very inexpensive, but it's by far the most durable way that I have found to peg weights. And it's, of course, entirely line friendly as well, being it's soft rubber. Pegging with rubber bands costs next to nothing, and most importantly, The rubber bands are extremely durable. When using rubber bands, I don't ever recall having to stop and retie my bait, even on extremely good days when I boated well over 30 fish. Try this method of pegging your weights and I'll guarantee you'll spend more time fishing and less time re-rigging.
Get a Limit Outdoors, sponsored by Rigid Industries LED Lighting, Seagar, always the best, Legend Boats, Scent Lock, Bill's Marine, Muddy Outdoors, Brothers in Arms Game Calls, Lowrance, Find, Navigate, Dominate.